You wake up, it's 2050. What do you Google first? I Google things you wouldn't believe were considered okay to say 30 years ago. Time Travelers 2020. The best answer, to be honest. I'll definitely Google it if I wake up in 2050. Is Elizabeth II still alive? No, she held on until her son Charles passed away so he would never be king. My name. Got to find out if there was a major disturbance over my disappearance or if nobody actually noticed. Is Putin still the president of Russia? Oh man, he will never stop. P.S. I'm Russian. I think so. Putin also has the power to live eternally, just like Queen Elizabeth. Plot twist, Google doesn't exist anymore. Bing takes over after people use it jokingly on April Fools, but never stop. Mars colony. In the late 2010s and early 2020s, several private companies and governments briefly considered sending humans to Mars. It turned out nobody wanted to spend 2 years on a cramped spacecraft pooping in a bag just to die on a rock without internet access. That would be fun. I'd finally have a reason to go outside. Yeah, but quarantine would be over anyway, and the coronavirus will be a typical sickness like the flu is now. Also, you'd wake up pretty much in a desert. Flying and/or self-driving cars would probably be a typical thing to see by then. Mankind would probably be on many different planets. Light speed would most likely be achieved as well. Welcome to the Star Wars dimension, everyone! By the way, school would be part of VR as well as most games would. Google would still be around, and Disney would be the makers of all movies, unless Google buys the trademark. Latest lockdown restrictions and link to 8G. Hopefully it will be more like utopia, not dystopia. Best things to Google in 2050. The number one thing to Google in 2050 is Tuboyan. You're taken aback, wondering if the entire world knows about you, knows that you don't belong. The pressure mounts and you want to hide away in a burrow and wait for your strange frame to die down. But everything is connected to cameras in 2050. You're being watched from 4,000 directions at once, burning under all eyes like an ant under a magnifying glass. You wonder if you shouldn't just get it over with and end your own life. Seems easier than having the entire world staring at you 24/7. Then you begin to worry that the search result is AI selected specifically to drive you to such a conclusion. And maybe all the searches are by people who want to watch videos of you ending it before you even chose to do so. Could an AI be so intelligent that it selected a search result that becomes a perfect self-fulfilling prophecy? It's about this time you learn that in 2050, Tuboyan is a VR full immersion experiential website that sells lots and lots of hentai with full haptics and goose splash effects with your home 4D nozzle. You spend the next 3 weeks browsing their content, but in subspace, it feels like 3 years. My bank details. Interest. I want to see if I can catch up with the times through memes alone. And everybody will call you insert replacement for boomer meme. Memes are no longer around. Instead, everyone makes jokes through badly drawn comic strips that show how everyone hates their wives' husbands. Has Yandere Simulator's development been completed yet? I'd just go back to sleep, mate. Google. Some things never change. World's largest economies. See how the world's financial power has moved. Who has gotten bigger and who has fallen by the wayside. Barring absolute catastrophe, I can't imagine a world where China and India are number 1 and number 2. Climate change looks likely to mess both of them up royally. But sheer luck the West could extend its global dominance by another century. Coronavirus Pandemic 2020. My own name. I have metastatic cancer and a prognosis of about 10 years. I want to know why I'm alive in 2050 and what I managed to get done between now and when I went to sleep. My mom battled metastatic breast and bone cancer for 16 years, which was about 10 years longer than her prognosis. She always said her hope and optimism was what got her through. Wishing your years of health and happiness, you can do it. How many centuries are left in the world? Sports Almanac 2020 to 2050. You never know if you get pulled back. Price of Bitcoin. Apparently, worth nothing because it collapsed with the economy, even though it was supposed to be some sort of revolutionary money not linked or controlled by the stock market or governments. even though it fell just like it was another speculated commodity. Yikes! If you had even the slightest, most mild understanding of economics, you'd be laughing at yourself right now. In your mind, is there even a difference between something like pandemic and something like a government destroying its own economy from the inside out via hyperinflation or other economic irresponsibility? Why would Bitcoin go up during a pandemic? COVID-19 isn't targeting the US Treasury or the US dollar. I'm not sure how anyone can imagine this only impacting one monetary system. A health crisis is an attack on wealth itself, not a single system of wealth exchange. That's pretty elementary. Bitcoin is a revolutionary money because it's decentralized and deflationary. This is counter to our current monetary system. Why in the world would COVID-19 present opportunities for these attributes to be more attractive to people? Like, I really can't wrap my head around how you think this makes sense. In many other types of crisis, people would absolutely flock to store their wealth in Bitcoin, but not a health crisis. That doesn't even make sense, dude, at all. No Game, No Life Season 2. We are all waiting. Who is the president of Russia? Who is the current ruler of the UK? Need to know if Putin and Queen Elizabeth are keeping their power. Putin has clones. Queen Elizabeth has the Infinity Stone. One Piece story arcs. Gotta see if it's done yet. A world map. Some countries might have conquered new territory. You never know. What causes sleeping for 30 years? WED MD. You must have an ear infection. Betty White's cause of death? Maybe Danny DeVito too. iPhone 42 specs results. iPhone XXI's Pro Max Plus Ultra Limited SE product, Red Zoom, came out in September 2049. Buy now for $10,999. What caused World War III? How did technology change from 2020 to 2050? Philadelphia Sports Championships. State climate change. Finally, had to scroll way down to find this, which is sad actually. List of Pokemon games. I wonder where the franchise is gonna go. Reddit. Sort by top of all time and scroll for an hour. That should cover most topics. Google? Nah, it's gonna be all Bing in 2050. I would look up a map of the world to see how much has changed historically. Queen Elizabeth's age. When did the world come up with a cure vaccine for the coronavirus, and how long was the world in lockdown? There's like 30 vaccines being worked on right now, if they aren't mass producing one by the end of the year. Flights to Mars. Maybe we could travel there by that time. Is Reddit still relevant? Is Putin still alive? World War IV. Wikipedia. See if that's still around. Half-Life 3. Oh yeah, we are all waiting. Has the internet speed gotten better or worse? Since population of people is increasing every day, the servers would probably be overwhelmed. List of all MCU Marvel Cinematic Universe movies I've missed. World map. Is Google still used as a term for an internet search in 2050? How is it possible to be asleep for 30 years? Some kind of tech, probably. I don't think I could Google anything. Just walk outside and see how everything looks. Good idea. COVID-19, because I would really want to know how all this played out. How long did the quarantine of 2020 last? Latest Eminem album. What does it mean when you went to sleep and it was 2020, Rona 2020, and you woke up next day in 2050? When you tired and want to sleep? Coronavirus vaccine. Is sleeping for 30 years normal?